Good video game adaptations aren't impossible. They're just really, really rare. With the best ones knowing what changes need to be made in between mediums, with the worst ones being forgettable cash grabs. Hell, to prove my point, you forgot there was an Assassin's Creed movie before you saw that backdrop, didn't you? Don't lie. Then there's a third category, the ones that just don't make it out. We'll start here. A lot of video game movies start and die here because nobody knows how to adapt these to a different medium. Games like BioShock are almost impossible to make into a standard movie format. Because like most video games, the forward movement of the narrative depends entirely on player interaction. The main character of BioShock does not speak. The main character of BioShock does not have his own opinion. And because of that, the would you kindly twist is perfect for a video game. Your actions are being controlled by the villain disguised as the video game telling you objectives. And as a player, you're not going to question an objective that pops up on your screen, you're just gonna do it. So unless you make the movie version of the character stupid, mute, and uninteresting, this can't work. And because a lot of video game stories do not do well when you remove player interaction, a lot of them just stay in development hell. Undertale has a fantastic story. Try to adapt it to anything else, you will have a stroke. Then you have the ones that do have a narrative that can be adapted. They just don't do a very good job. A narrative game can be anywhere between 8 and 40 hours of content. It would legit take 8 Snyder Cuts to tell one half of one Mass Effect game. But beyond that, there's the second offender for this category. Not knowing how to adapt what you got. You have a colorful cast of lighthearted characters in a fantastical world? Well, obviously, Gunmetal Gray is the perfect way to go about this. A lot of these feel like the setting needs to either be aged up or the writing needs to be dumbed down. For example, Doom barely has a story outside of Blast the Demons. So the only way to try and adapt that is to dumb it down to a dumb, generic military movie. But then, you get the ones that get it. Mario understood the assignment. The Last of Us understood the assignment. Sonic understood the assignment. After some bullying. And the reasons why these worked are for completely different reasons. Mario is a story about running through a wacky world in order to save the day. You do not need the story to be any more complicated than that. The Last of Us understood that you cannot take a 40-hour game and turn it into a movie. You need to turn it into a series. And beyond that, altering and changing story beats is necessary in order to make this flow property in a different medium. Despite me enjoying Game Bill more than Show Bill, Game Bill is an escort character. He cannot be translated directly to a show. So rather than adapt a several hours long escort mission, they just gave him his own story arc. And finally, you have Sonic, which by all accounts should not work on paper. The games are built around a cartoon hedgehog fighting robots. This should be the stupidest thing known to man. And the movie understands that and leans all the way to hell into it. It's a blue hedgehog fighting monsters with the power of friendship. It doesn't need to be any darker than that. You know, until it needs to be darker than that. So yeah, the only way you adapt these well is by doing it one of 3 ways. You take a story that's adaptable and put it in a medium that makes sense. You take a simplistic world and make it faithful. Or you take something bonkers and keep it fun. But as always, I want to hear from you guys. What is your favorite video game adaptation? And which one do you think could have been just a little bit better? Whatever your answers be, leave it in the comments. Let me know.